more dreams and some interpretations of those dreams. And yeah, so my name is Christy. This is Christy of the Cosmos channel. I talk about my dreams, dream work, dream interpretation, and how to start using your dreams as an intuitive tool in your life that'll help to get you know yourself better. And that's really what we're here to do, is to really understand ourselves and become ourselves. Labelless, mask-free, totally and fully ourselves. So in this video, I want to talk a little bit about prophetic dreams. So in a video I just made, as you can see, I haven't changed my outfit because I'm making videos today. In the video I just made, I talked a little bit about symbolism in your dreams and recurring dreams specifically. Today I want to talk about prophetic dreams. There is something that happens, and prophetic dreams can be very symbolic and frequently have strong metaphor in them. And if you take them too literally, you kind of lose the prophecy. You lose the information there because you're taking them so literally, and then it doesn't play out that way. So then you think that, it was just a dream and no big deal. So one of the dreams that I had, that was, again, a very short one. I would love to share some of the long ones too, but right now I'm just being called to share these short little ones. This particular dream I had, and I had a really powerful experience around the same time. I am going to be 40 this year, and I have a 2-year-old son. And I've been with my husband. We've been together for 21 years. We've been married. We're coming up on 16 years this year. And we've wanted to have a child almost the entire time that we had been married. We always wanted to have kids, but, obviously we waited till we got married to try, and we tried off and on for over a decade. If you don't know my story, you can see my whole story at my website, which is christylitster.com. I'm actually an artist. This isn't even my job. This is just something I'm extremely passionate about. So if you want to know more about me, you can go there and read my bio. It tells like a book, really. But when I was 33, I was diagnosed with cancer, and I had to go through all, chemotherapy and radiation and all that kind of fun stuff, which led to a heck of a lot more body struggles for a few years before I started having miracle healing in my life. And a lot of that healing came through dream work, believe it or not. That's exactly how it happened for me. And it wasn't through doctors, it wasn't through medication, it wasn't through some special diet, it wasn't through anything. It was literally just through changing my outlook on life and my frequency. And all of a sudden my body just started to react in an extremely positive way. Not only my body, but my entire life. And I feel honestly like I'm in my miracle years all of a sudden. Before I was finally pregnant, we had tried to get pregnant with the help of a fertility doctor, and it just was not working. It really wasn't. And like I said, we had been trying for a long time. We had to take that short break when I got sick, but after that, we basically, as soon as we had the okay, we jumped right back into trying to have a baby. And it really felt like it was never going to happen. And we decided that we were done trying. It was one of the hardest decisions we ever made, ever, in our entire time we had been together, because we really wanted to be parents, and I knew we'd be really great parents. We're a really solid couple, and we just knew that there had to be another way. If this wasn't the way it was going to happen, it was going to happen some way, because we knew that's what we were called to do. And so we decided that we were going to adopt. And we, here in Canada, and I'm sure this is the case elsewhere, but I can only speak to what I know, you have to go through a whole process. You can't just adopt a kid. It's not like adopting a dog kind of thing, So you have to go through training, a whole program of training, and you can adopt fostered children. Usually that's what happens. You can go overseas and adopt if you want to do all that, but we literally couldn't afford to go do that. And, there's a huge waiting list, and it's not like an easy, simple process. It's a very in-depth process, which I actually think is a good thing, because it makes you know whether you're really ready to make the jump into adoption, which I think people who adopt are like angels upon this earth. So we became really passionate about it, and we had to take this course which is called Pride, and it was all about learning about abuse and all these things that a lot of these children had come through. And it was eye-opening, and it was a massive transformation for both of us. But we really wanted to have a child. Now, this all happened right as soon as we decided to adopt, and we started this whole process. COVID happened and the world shut down. And so the process slowed down tremendously at that time. And we actually got right to the end of that process. All we had left to do was to get police clearances. Somewhere in that time frame, so this is 2020, somewhere in that time frame, I had this dream where I was on like a cruise ship with my family, like my immediate family. So my brother and his wife and my mom and her husband, and my husband was there. And I looked down at my body, and I was quite pregnant, like big pregnant. And I remember the feeling of total joy that rushed through my body, and I felt pregnant. I never had a child, so I didn't know what that even meant to feel pregnant, but I felt that feeling of caring for and carrying children, and I felt, uncomfortable even in my body. Like I had a very physical experience. And all of a sudden, as dreams sometimes do, they sort of fast forward in time, and I'm with my family. We're still on this cruise ship. This must have been like a very long cruise ship. We just lived on a giant yacht or something. I don't know. But we were sitting in sort of a lounge area, and I looked down, and in each arm like this were 2 newborn babies in my arms, swaddled. And I looked down at them, and there were one was a boy, one was a girl. And I looked down, and I was overcome, and I was crying tears of joy. And I'm like, these are my children. These are my children. And then for some reason, I don't know why I did this. It's kind of messed up, but I kind of just put this one down a little bit, and I looked in my hand, and I'm like, you're my son. I've waited my whole life for you. You're my son. And my husband was there, and he was crying, and I'm like, I've waited for you. I've longed for you, and I'm so ready for you. And then I woke up. It was a pretty short dream. And I woke up from that dream so heartbroken, because I felt like it was such a cruel dream. It was so cruel, because I tried so hard to get pregnant, and it just never happened. And it wasn't like I tried for a couple years. I tried for over a decade, except for like a 1.5 year stint where they said, don't do that because you've just been through all kinds of stuff, or you're going through treatment and you should not be pregnant when you're having this treatment. So this isn't something like a lot of people say, oh, just when you stop trying, it happens. It's like, no, dude, I stopped trying and started trying so many times. It just wasn't happening. And people wouldn't even say that to me then. And it was so incredibly heartbreaking. And I was like, I have a pretty strong relationship with cosmos, with God, with the universe, whatever you want to call it. And I was like, why? I don't understand why I'm having this. Like, why? I know. And then in the moment, I'm like, I accept my child, however I have my child, however that child comes to me. And I was like so dedicated to the process that we were going through, even though I had that experience, and it was incredibly painful. So fast forward just a few weeks later, maybe even a little longer. I don't really remember that well. We were supposed to get our police clearances, and we were kind of dragging our feet a little bit, just because at the time it wasn't like as easy as just going down to the police station and filling out some forms or doing it online or however the hell you did it. it's like you had to go in separately and you had to go in 2 separate times and you had to make these appointments and all of these like restrictions were in place and whatever. So it wasn't like it was just, it had become significantly more work. But whatever, we were going to do it. It was the last thing. We finished the training. We got the okay. They were so excited for us. The agency we were working with, they like, you guys are going to be the best parents ever. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And then, I don't know what it was, but one day I realized that I don't even know if I was late for my period. It was just kind of around that time. And I'm like, when we were walking, like many, many kilometers, 10 kilometers on average a day. And I said to my husband, why don't we go to the drugstore? For some reason, I just want to take a test. And he's like, really? Do you want to do that to yourself? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I took the test and it was positive. Just a little bit positive, not like a lot positive. And I was like, Daryl, that's my husband's name. I'm like, it says I'm pregnant. He's like, really? And he looks at me and we hug each other. And we're like, is this really for real? For real? We went and bought like 9 tests. Like we just went, I don't know how much money we spent, but we bought the best quality. I don't mean dollar store tests. I mean, I bought like the best quality tests that I could buy. I don't even spend like $100 on tests. Probably even more than that. I don't know. It was stupid. And I took a few more and they all had that same like faint line. I'm like, okay, I'm going to wait till tomorrow. I'm going to wait till tomorrow and I'll take another one. And it was a little bit stronger, the line. And then the next day it was a little bit stronger, the line. And then we're like, oh my goodness, like, I think I'm actually for real pregnant. Like, how is this even possible? Like, this is insane. So I was for real pregnant. And my son, who's the light of my life, obviously, especially after all this time, he was due on May 20th. 2021, which would have made him a Taurus. And that kid hung out an extra 3 days until May 23rd, 2021, which made him a Gemini. And I really truly believe this prophetic dream about being pregnant, like feeling pregnant and seeing my son and being like, I love you and I've been waiting for you and everything, even though I had this other baby. Just put that baby down. I was like, I love you. I'm so, like, just blubbering, crying. That made him a Gemini. And Gemini is the twin. It's the twin. And that's not even the only time I got the twin symbol. Like, I painted this whole painting about twins well before I was ever even tried to do adoption at the time. I was just dealing with other things. But yeah, he hung out to be a Gemini. And I had that dream about twins, about being very pregnant at a time when I literally, after trying with fertility specialists 3 times, and him basically saying, you know, your next step is in vitro. And I was like, and it was quite expensive. And, you know, we're like, do we do that or we just adopt? And that's why we had decided to adopt. So it's like he came to just tell me, just, it's okay, I'm coming. I'm almost there. And that feeling of connection was like, I might have even been pregnant when I had that dream and not realized I was pregnant. So I can't remember how close it was, but that is like the example, a very prime example of a prophetic dream, but also being extremely symbolic. And just, you know, when you have, and the feeling, usually when you have an extremely prophetic dream or a dream that is really meant as a lesson, because we have I really believe every dream has meaning, but, you know, sometimes you're tired and you don't really feel like, you know, writing down a dream where you're walking down the street, like, who cares? Like, who has time for all of that? But that one, I woke up and I was sobbing. Like, I was so heartbroken and angry, like so mad about that, because I was like, why do I have to have that experience? Why hurt me like that? Why make it so real and then take it away from me? But it wasn't until later, and that dream always stuck with me too, because it hurt so bad and I was so upset. And I think I even woke up my husband crying, like, you know, oh my God, I had this terrible dream. You know, it was a wonderful dream, but it was terrible because it hurt so bad. But it came true. I've never really sat down to think about the cruise ship part of it or any of that. You know, it was very interesting. My family, I feel like, since my brother ended up, and his wife ended up having a baby just before I did, so we were pregnant at the same time. She's my age too, and I had been trying for having a children. Like, it was a lot of miracles were happening with children that time. And ended up having another child. They had two children that are young, like my son. So it was interesting because I feel like all of these experiences have changed our family dynamic, even with my mother, and brought us all closer together. So maybe that's why we were all together on this boat together. The symbolism of the boat, I don't really know. I haven't really thought too deeply on that. I guess it's something I could go into, but I don't really feel called to. But I will always remember that because I feel like it was like my son coming to tell me, I'm coming, Mom. Like, I'm on my way. And it's going to be amazing, but you just have to keep the faith a little longer and recognize that calling to be a mother and not be afraid of it. Because I guess, you know, before we have children, we're all a little bit afraid of that. So anyway, that is an example of a prophetic dream and how it can be kind of, you know, extremely, to carry the symbols. So if you're writing your dreams down, which I never do, like I said in another video, I really should, but I never do because I tend to remember them quite well. But if you lose them, you know, like I've said before you even open your eyes, when you have a really intense dream or something that you really want to remember, play that dream out in every detail. Like, try to remember every single detail of that dream. And you'll have stuff fall away. And usually I find that's kind of like the extras. We add a lot of extras in our dream. And don't open your eyes. Like, replay it as detailed as you can. Oh, maybe twice or 3 times. That way you could literally speak it out loud. And then open your eyes and either speak it out loud. My poor husband, I tell him my dreams like every day. And he's like, okay, I gotta go to work. Do you want a coffee? Poor guy. I feel so bad for him sometimes. But he's a real champ. Or write it down or record it on your phone or whatever you got to do. But like, make sure you get it out of your body. Telling somebody helps you remember. So if you have somebody who will listen to you, telling them helps you remember. Emailing it to yourself, whatever you can do, send yourself a text, you know, whatever you got to do, to keep them. And after a while, you'll start to see that there are patterns in your dreams, and also how some of the things that you might have forgotten, the details, do end up showing up in your waking life. And then when you're having deja vu during the day, you're like, I remember this dream. Let me go back and look at it. Or in my case, since I don't go back and look at anything, I know that I've had this situation and it's like a very important point in my life. Might have nothing to do with the dream, but it's like that situation that I'm in right now. There's something very important happening for me. Maybe not in that moment even, but it's like in that day or in that week, you know, to be in a state of like reflection and observation. So anyway, that's my first prophetic dream I'd love to share with you. I have many more. So please stay tuned, like, subscribe, share if you care, however you do you. And add your comments. Do you have any dreams that have come true for you that were like prophetic? Either on a large scale, you know, in the whole collective, or just in your own life. I'd love to hear them. So anyway, until next time, hope you have a great day. Your friendly friend, Christy. Peace.